Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a project share. We have had, or my son, I just finished creating the card, trying to put some of the things away. These are one of those cards, you guys, that we don't like to make, but unfortunately sometimes we have to make them. So one of my son's friends passed away, and my son loves to fish, so his circle of influence are those that like to do the same thing. So they're like-minded people. So this young man, he wasn't a boy, he was a man, a young man. He loved fishing, and they would sometimes go fishing together. So I wanted to create a card. I didn't know the young man personally, but I knew his mother, and she is a Christian. And so I wanted to create a card for her, and I'm going to share it with you, but I'm also going to share all the products that I used. One of the things that I love about Carnation Crafts is the artwork, and then the dies that go along with it. And this made the process very easy for me. And I do like the way the card came out, but I wish it were for a happier occasion. But like I said, unfortunately, sometimes we do have to make these kind of cards. So let me share with you what I used. All of my products that I used, most of them, maybe all of them, other than the paper, was Carnation Craft. So one of the things that I use is the clouds, and this is called Set Fair, and they're all not from the same collection. These are different collections, but this one is called Set Fair, and it is by Carnation Craft. And these are the clouds, and they do have the artwork. So there are the clouds, and you're going to see them in my card. And usually what you do, you snip them apart. So I snip those apart and use as many or as little as I want. One of the other things, I didn't use it in this particular card, but I did, I think I used the corner in another one, is this one. It's called Land Loved Corners, and one of them is a boat, and then the other is like a cast net type of corner, and I'll show you what those look like. And I love, love, love the fact that they have artwork. So there's the boat, and then I have several corners here. Let me bunch them together. And here is one of the cast net corners, and this I believe is from a different one as well. And this one is called, like I said, Land Loved Corners. So those are the two that that I already had them cut out, so I didn't have to cut them out because I already had them. And then here's another one that I did have to cut out, and I didn't cut out all of them. That way you can see what they look like. This one is called On the Shore, and it's a pair of shoes. It's got another little rowboat here, like a dried tree trunk, and then the sand like for the beach. And here is some of the artwork. And you can get them in, usually when you buy Carnation Craft, you get one of the vignettes, that's what they call them, for free. And sometimes you'll get a couple of them for free. And then you have the option to buy, but these are all digital downloads. You don't get a physical item. You print it out yourself. I have done a video on how to print out these, this artwork and the size of paper you need and all of that stuff. So here is the artwork, and then you just line up your dies and you cut it out. And these also, they do give you, where if you wanted to do a double-sided print where it's color both front and back, that is also an option. One of the other things, and this one I printed out in a couple of colors, and I ended up using one of the colors. But here's half a sheet. You usually get two in one sheet. Here's half a sheet. And here's the artwork, and it does have a bleed line, so if you're a little off, it'll still look good. And there's like a pink with the yellow, and that one is called the Angler. And it also has the cattails with the fishing pole. It's got a frog here, and I don't personally like frogs, so I just cut it off. I cut it off. You can't even tell that I cut something off from there. But that's this one right here. and I'll show you what they look like cut out, or some of them. Here are some of the flowers cut out. You can get them. Usually I get them in all the colors. I think there's 5 or 6 in each design, and I usually get all of them. But here's the blue one. So pretty. And I did do it with the brown cattails in it, but that's one of the ones I used. Another die that I used, and I did use this one. Like I said, I use several dies from different collections, but they're mostly all Carnation Craft, and they're you know, they're pretty close to a fishing type of thing. It's not specifically fishing, but it works. So this one is called the lake, and it's got a little pier here, the water, the horizon over here. Very, very pretty. Again, it does have the artwork. I'll share with you what that looks like. I have one right here that I didn't cut out. Here's half a sheet. And then you just line your die up and you cut it. So that's that. I use this sentiment, and I don't think these sentiments have any artwork to it. I use the love and prayers. It does come with a silhouette die. It comes with the intricate word die. Then it comes with a split silhouette die if you want to put it on the edge of a card or something. I have done cards like that. I think I have shared them before. And then another thing that I used is the eyelet ring and rectangle. This one cuts out the holes, as you can see right here, this red piece, and it's got little dots and holes, and whatever you back it with, that's what you see through those openings. So this was the base, or the top layer of my card, the matting layer. So I used those. Another thing that I used is an embossing folder by Spellbinders. I have had it for a good minute, and I hadn't had a chance to use it. And this one is called Castaway, and it is a cast net. It's a 3D embossing folder by Spellbinders. Very, very pretty. I printed out my sentiment, and I wasn't sure if I liked it embossed, so, but you can see right here, I think you guys can see, maybe if I turn it this way, that it's very heavily embossed because it is a 3D embossing folder. And what happens with that, when you have something that doesn't have as much as embossing on one side and more on the other, your card kind of gets out of shape, and you have to retrim it to have a square or straight piece of paper. So I had to do this with this. The sentiment that I put in here is, the Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I felt this was very appropriate, especially for a grieving mother. So, you know, there is hope. You know, is she going to forget? No. But will it become easier? Yes. But forget never. But, you know, I'm hoping that this sentiment will help her, and that through this whole thing that she's going through, this loss that she's going through, that it will draw her closer to God and not away from the Lord. So that's why I chose scripture to put in there. So I'm going to share with you one of the cards, the one that I'm not using. I'll put it away for whenever. And this card can be not only for loss, but also if someone's going through a hard time, because it says love and prayers. So there is the love and prayers by Carnation Craft. No silhouette, no nothing, just an intricate cut. Here is that corner, cast net corner. And here are the clouds right here. And I did add dimension. I like adding dimension to my cards. I did this card in a grayscale, so the lake and everything is printed out in gray. I used a back panel without cutting it, and then I used the die and cut out sorry guys, to cut out the pier and the horizon part and put it up on foam. And here is the fishing pole with the cattails. Like I said, this is the gray one. And I did add glossy accents to the green part, because to me it reminds me like a misty morning where the dew is still on the grass or the leaves. So that's why I added glossy accents there. And then here are the flowers that I added, and here's the boat back here. and the tennis shoes right here, like as if somebody took them off and left them on the edge of the lake or something. So that's the one I didn't use, and it doesn't have a sentiment. I did this one with a beige card base, and I added an iridescent paper, the one from Recollection that has the craft color in the back. I think you get those from Michael's. I believe it's Michael's. But here's the artwork again. I did use the artwork. So I love the way it came out, but I felt like I liked the one that had color better. So that's the one I used. Now for the boat and all that, the shoes, I always use my tools to shape them. So there is a roundness to the shoe, to the tennis shoes, and to the boat back here. It does have shape. Sometimes with, when we're recording, you really can't see it. But I did do that. So I created a box. Again, I used a Carnation Craft circle die. I love this because it's got concentric dies, and it goes from very, very little to really large. So that's the one I use, and it's just called circles. Here is the box that I created for the card. I do have a box where I have some shells, some little cat's net, like for craft purposes, not a real one. So I have different things like for a beach or a sea theme, and that's what I decided to do here. I did cut an opening in the center of the box, a window, so you could see into the box, and I did emboss it. And because this paper that I use here is a Carnation Craft paper, I love this paper because it has like a semi-gloss to it, and it's thick, so it's perfect for making card bases and stuff like that. But here it doesn't have a complete solid core in the color, so it is white on the inside. So when I embossed it, because the embossing was so deep, it did leave the white edges. But if you want to show more of that, like if I wanted to show more white, I would just use this sanding block. This is a craft for paper crafting sanding block. I think it's by Ranger. I'm not sure. And I picked it up at one of the craft stores, either Joann's, Hobby Lobby, or something like that. But it is for paper crafts. And you would just rub it on the raised areas, and it would show more of the white will come through. So there it is. And then I added a window with some acetate. Now there are some scratches on my windows, on the window, because I was using hot glue to attach the net here and there, and the string of glue went on the acetate, and it's very hard to come off. And before I used something that worked on there, I was kind of scratching it with my fingernail or a pin, and I left scratches on there. So it's not perfect, but I did, I remembered I had some Goo Gone, and that actually did get rid of the hot glue, but it leaves like a blurry, oily residue. And then what I did to get rid of that residue is I just used a little soft cloth with alcohol, sprayed alcohol on it, and rubbed it and cleaned it off. So it does work to get off the glue. But in my case, I had already been scratching it with my nail with a straight pin. I had a shell here, and I looked up to see what the meaning of a shell is, and some of it is fertility, like for women, but it's also, I saved it on my phone. I'll tell you what it is. I saved it on my phone. It represents protection, resilience, and the journey of life. So that's why I used a shell there. Before I put it on there, I looked to see what the meaning, if it had any particular meaning, and that's what it had. So I decided it was appropriate for this. So in the box, so here is the lid to the card, because we crafters tend to make our cards a little dimensional. This is not very dimensional, but it does have some dimension. The inside of the card, I did make the box first, the base, and then I matted it with a piece of the same colored cardstock, and also ran it through the embossing folder. It's when you put those little extra details into your cards, or even just the box that you're creating, like it really shows that you took a lot of care, and that this was important to you. You didn't just put something together. No, you took a lot of thought and consideration into what you were creating for someone. So that's what I did. I embossed it. I didn't put anything in the back. And this is the card that I'm actually giving the lady. And here is that green again embossed, and I used the sanding block to bring out the white in it. Although you can't see a whole lot of it, but you can see some of it. And I didn't put too many flowers up here. I decided to just tone it down with the flowers. I just added a little bit of yellow ones here. So here's the canoe in color. Here are the shoes that have a little bit more color. And here is the cattails, because cattails are brown. So there it is right there. Again, I did use the glossy accents to make it look like there was still fog or dew on the grass blades and the cattails. But I love the way it came out. And then I used that same paper, the iridescent, that I was telling you about from Michaels. So it will be very, it's got sparkle because it's iridescent, but it's so light and it kind of fades a little bit into the background that I used. So I like the way it's kind of toned down a little bit. Here are the clouds. I added dimensional tape or dots to the back after I had shaped them. Again, with the canoe is actually shaped, and so are the shoes, and even the cattails are shaped. And there is foam in between the cattails to keep them. And for that, you know, there's nothing really that I have that's real little. I'll just take a piece of tape, a dimensional tape, the square ones, and I just cut them into little sections, 3 or 4 sections where they're narrow enough that I can use on something like this. Here's the inside again. I wanted to emboss on the bottom, but sometimes when you try to emboss something and you only want to emboss part of it, and you leave part of it hanging out of the embossing folder, it'll give you a crease, a very deep crease, and I didn't want that. So I just put my whole thing into the bottom of the embossing folder and just ran just a little piece of it. So you still see the cat's net right here. Again, the Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That is Psalms 34:18. And then in the back, I did put my created to create die cut. And and I did get some. There was a little black dot here. And I've rarely used these, and I should always, because I always mess up. But these are mono erasers, and one of them has a rubber side, and one of them has like a sanding type of side to it. And you're able to take off marks and stuff from your cards. So I use that to take it off, and you can't really see it. But I put on here, created to create. That is my channel name. Most of you that are watching probably already know that, but that is what I created for my friend. And but I think I'm going to make some more and really take my time. This, you know, when something like this happens and we don't have the cards pre-done, it's really harder for me because it takes me a long time to decide what I want to do, to put a card together. So I really need to work on some cards that don't have a saying or a sentiment on them. And that way I can use them and be ready to use them. And I'm not last minute like this accident I had. Had I been smart, the cutout that I had cut out from the center, the circle, I could have just put that in place while I was gluing everything down to avoid getting any hot glue strings on the acetate. I didn't think about that. That was an afterthought, but if you decide to do something like this, definitely save that piece that you cut out and slide it back in place while you're decorating the outside of your box. That way you don't get any glue on the actual acetate. And I just glued it with a hot glue gun here and there, very little glue, to get that little net to stay on the outside. I really like the way it came out. I wish that this was for a better occasion, but it's not. And then I want to share another card with y'all. I made this a while back, but this is not, like I wanted to make something special that's kind of spoke about or displayed what this young man was into that was more him. So that's why I did one that is fishing. But I created this one a long time ago. And these are, I believe this one is a tattered lace die. This frame right here is an Anna Griffin die. And this might even be a Christmas one. And I did it in a silhouette, just in black. And the deep embossing looks really, really pretty. And then this lily right here and these flowers are Carnation Craft in the gray tones. I kept it very, very subtle. I love the way they came out. I'm not sure what dye I used for these flowers here. Maybe a Carnation Craft one in black as well. So I did grays in black in this one. And I created this box. I really need to put it in a plastic. It's going to get ruined. And the card that I created to go in here is this one. I shared it a long time ago. So I'm just resharing with you guys to give you ideas. This one says with sympathy. The door right here is an Anna Griffin door, but Spellbinders has doors as well. And I believe the steps right here are Spellbinders. So the door was from an Anna Griffin die, and the steps right here are Spellbinders because they have sentiments. And you guys will have to look for the video on this one because I don't even remember where I got this "so sorry" from. These words cutouts that are here, very, very tiny. If I look hard enough, I'm sure I can find them. But if you go look for that video, and if I find it, I'll link it in the description box below. But I really don't remember where I got that. But Spellbinders has words that you can put into the steps. So this might be from Spellbinders, not sure. And again, I used the Carnation Craft flowers. And then these are all Carnation Craft flowers as well. And these are flower pots that came with this particular door. I'm not even sure if this one has a sentiment in it. It might not. This is a very, very large card. I'm going to say it's, yep, it's probably like an 8x8. Yep, this is an 8x8 card. So it's a very, very large card. No sentiment in there yet. No layering or anything. I just kind of created it and put it away and didn't do anything with it. This little medallion that's back here is part of the set that comes with the one that I have in the lid of the box. But I really do need to finish this card because it's very, very pretty. And I used like a shiny type of black foil paper to cut out the door. Not the silhouette to the back, but the actual door. So it looks like it's painted with like an oil-based paint or something like that. But that is one of the ideas. And I would have loved to have had one for fishing that was very detailed. Like this one, I took my time because it wasn't for anybody in particular. And I was able to take my time and really work on it and get it to the way I really, really like it. Although I like this one, I think that it could be better. Anyway, guys, that is all that I wanted to share with y'all today. So glad that I was able to play a little bit, even though, like I said, not the occasion, but this kind of made me want to come back into my craft room because I have been not doing too much of anything. I haven't been doing too much of anything. Like I said before, focusing a lot on my relationship with the Lord, serving and church and all of that. So it takes up a lot of my time. And now I am a great grandmother and I'm babysitting the baby as well. So I've been a little busy. But like I said, this gave me an opportunity to come into my craft room. And I'm so glad that I have the tools. I'm so blessed to have the tools and everything that I need to create a card, when I need one, and not, because some of these things you want to put more care into than just going to a store, because you're not going to find anything like this in a store. It just doesn't happen. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope everyone has a great day, and God bless. Bye.